Hey guys, welcome to another episode in the Unity Beginner tutorial series where we will cover the Unity interface. To begin with, open the new Unity project we created last video and you should be seeing the same thing as me. Now Unity has 5 different windows. We have the scene view, the game view, the project window, the hierarchy, and the inspector tab. We'll go about each one of those in detail, but for now we'll talk about the scene view. And the scene view basically allows you to navigate through your scene and interact with different game objects. And we'll demonstrate that in a bit. But first of all, you can actually look around your scene by holding down your right click and just moving it around. You can also zoom in and out with your scroll wheel. And you can hold down your scroll wheel actually, and just drag it around the screen. For demonstration purposes, head over to the hierarchy, right click, 3D object, cube. You've now created a cube. Now inside of the scene view with your cube selected, hit F on your keyboard to actually zoom into it. Now that you're here, we'll actually explain these tools up here in this toolbar. The first one is the move tool. The move tool allows you to move the game object along the X, Y, and Z axis. We've also got the rotate tool, the scaling tool, the rect tool, which is similar to the scaling tool, and we've also got this one, which gives us all the functionality at once. You can move, rotate, and scale. With that said, we've also got these two toggles right here. We'll go about the pivot in a second after we explain the hierarchy, but for now we'll just talk about the global rotation toggle. Now select the move tool, select the rotate tool, and go ahead and rotate your cube along any axis you want. If you try moving your cube, you will see that you'll be now moving it along the global rotation if this toggle is set as global. However, if I just click on this and set it as local, I will now be able to move the cube with respect to its local rotation. I'll just take it back to general, to global, for the purpose of the tutorial. On the left right here, we've got different cloud services and version control services. We've got this account button, which allows us to go to our account to sign in or out of it. We've also got the layers. We'll dive deeper into layers in later episodes, but for now all you need to know is that basically every game object has a layer on it. For example, if we click on this cube, you will see that it has a default layer on it, meaning if we go over to layers and just hide the default layer, all game objects in the scene with this default layer will stop showing. For now I'll just leave it on visible. We've also got the different layouts over here. You can change the UI of the Unity editor like so, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and just create my own custom one. So I just do this, I click save layouts, I'll just call it test, I'll hit save. Okay, whatever. So now I'll have it saved over here, and for the sake of the course I'll just go with the default layout. Now we've also got the game view, and the game view is basically, you can basically see your game in action from the perspective of the cameras in your scene. To go into game mode, just click on this play button right here. As for now, we have no functionality in our game, so there's no way to demonstrate this, but you will later on see how this works. You can pause the game view, you can pause the game mode actually, and you can move it frame by frame. And to go out of game mode, just click on this play button once again. Let's head back to our scene view now. Now we'll speak about the project window, and the project window is basically where all your assets are. And assets are essentially files that include everything you would need for your game, ranging from scripts to game objects, scenes, and the list goes on. Basically anything you would use in your game is saved to this assets folder. We'll actually go ahead and right click and create a folder in this. just call it new folder. I'll go in here, and as you can see, if I go to create, I can create other subfolders, C# scripts. I can create shaders, playables, scenes, just anything you want. You can actually create it. For example, if you also had a, let's say, a first-person shooter game, you would have all the in-game assets in this assets folder, and you'll have multiple folders for different kind of stuff. So for example, you would have a folder for the weapons, a folder for characters, a folder for textures, another one for scripts, and so on. For now, I'll just delete this, and we just move on to the hierarchy then. The hierarchy is this area right here, and in the hierarchy you will have quick and easy access to all assets present in your scene. So as you can see, the cube which is in my scene can actually be seen through the hierarchy. And another special thing about the hierarchy is that you can make parent and child relationships. To demonstrate this, right click, 3D objects, and sphere to create a sphere. Now in the hierarchy, if you drag and drop this sphere onto the cube, the sphere will now become a child of this cube. And what this means is now that the cube is a parent, and whatever happens to the transform of the parent will be applied to the transform of the child, as you can see right here. Another thing I wanted to speak about also was the pivot toggle. And what a pivot basically is, it's the center point of any game object. As you can see, the pivot of this cube is at its center. And if I just now try to move these game objects, it will kind of change the position according to the pivot of the game object I'm currently on. And if I hit the toggle and set it to center, I will now actually mess with the transform with respect to the center pivot, so that the pivot will now be in the center of these two game objects instead of being in the center of the cube alone. And if I have more game objects, the pivot will also be in the center of these game objects, like I'm going to demonstrate in a bit. Let's add this as well. Let's see, you can see that pivot is still in the center of the 3D game objects. I don't personally use this that much, but I just thought it's a cool feature that I would show you guys. And last but not least, we have the inspector window. If I click on the cube, I'll be able to view all the properties of this cube. And the inspector basically essentially allows us to inspect the properties of an asset. An example of this is its transform components belonging to this cube. I can actually click on these three dots and hit on reset, and all the transform of the cube will be reset back to its default state. Just click F to zoom into it, and this is not just doesn't apply to the transform. There's many properties that can go into a game object, many components and many things you can just mess around with, and for that we'll dive deeper into them in later videos on what components are. And with that said, there's something you will often use as well, and that is the package manager. So if you head up here to window and hit on package manager, you'll now see the package manager. Just drag this down a little bit and drop it right here next to the scene and game view. And through the package manager, you'll be able to have access to you actually be able to see the packages that you have, or the packages in the Unity registry in this case. You can also go to your assets and the built-in packages and the packages in your project, and you can actually get these packages from the Unity asset store often. And that's basically it for them. You'll see them in action in later episodes or in our other tutorials in the channel. And with that said, I hope you guys learned something from this video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on bell notifications if you want to be updated whenever we make a new episode. With that said guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.